Okay, so I'm here with an OG of the Irish MMA game at the minute, Henry Fadipe. He's after coming back on a bit of a streak. We're going to go through his career to date, the highs and lows and the ups and downs. So what got you into MMA?
I actually started in IT Talent.
Yeah.
I was in college doing an engineering course, and Alan Duffy from SPG was in my class. He came in with a big bottle of water, and I asked him, "What's that?" He told me he was cutting weight for a fight, and then we just got into the conversation, and from there.
And then what was the first gym you went into, and then how did you find walking into a gym for the first time?
So there was the college. She had an MMA team, and it started an MMA team in the college, and we had a coach who was friends with Tony Carrick from MMA Lucan, and he brought us there one time, and I was like, I lived in Lucan, so from there, I started MMA.
And then had you done any sports before that?
Yeah, I'd done boxing, I'd done wrestling, I'd done karate. I did karate. I was a karate green belt before my leaving cert. So actually, I'd like to go back and get my black belt in karate. But yeah.
So that's another thing that you might be doing in the next few years. Then hopefully. Yeah. So once you kind of joined it, how did you? Obviously, you said you've done boxing and stuff before, so you used to like training in combat sports, but with MMA, what did it fascinate you? Because it has all these different disciplines mixed into one. What did you make of it starting out?
You see, at first I was just a striker, and I did a bit of wrestling, but I wasn't a big fan of the whole hugging and takedowns and all that kind of stuff. But I started watching MMA. I watched Anderson Silva and John Jones, and then they made me fall in love with it, and I wanted to be like them, so I started training properly.
Yeah, John Jones is a legend, and I can't wait to actually see him fight again. It's been a minute. So, with that, when you went to start competing, obviously it was hard to find stuff on you, but you had 5 amateur fights. So when you walk in for your first amateur fight, let's say, what was that feeling like going in to actually compete?
Very nervous. You know, even till today, I go in very nervous. I don't know what it is. I think every fight has that. It's a lot of nerves until the cage is shut, and then it's like tunnel vision. But no, it's a lot of nerves, man. The excitement is there. As soon as they announce the fight and you see the poster, you get the fight, the butterflies. But then a few weeks towards the fight, you get the nerves kick in, and yeah, it's madness.
And then obviously, once you get into that cage, and is the nerves still there? Because obviously you're standing across from your opponent. With the likes of the crowd and stuff, does that drown out, or does that affect you in any way? Can you hear it, or do you just focus on your opponent once you're in there?
I don't really hear the crowd. It's just background noise at that stage. Trying to listen to your coach, trying to think, trying to listen to your own thoughts. Just trying to slow down your heart, and the crowd don't really come into it now.
No, so you won your first fight then, and then you actually went on a streak of 5 for your amateur. I believe that is correct, yeah? And it was all finishes.
All knockout, KO, TKO, 5 amateur fights. At the time, MMA wasn't as big, so I couldn't really get into my amateur fights, so I had to turn pro. At 18, straight into the deep end, fighting title fight after title fight. We're fighting the wrong weight, the wrong guys, the wrong time, you know?
Yeah, because obviously in Ireland at that time, it wouldn't be, like you said, what it is now. Yeah. Would you have wished you had an amateur scene like we have now back then?
Yes, definitely. A lot more experience to be gained before I turned pro. A lot more fighters to match the time. But we can't do anything about it now.
Yeah, you can't go back and turn back the clock. So going forward, obviously, when you said you went into pro, there wasn't like that. It wasn't huge in Ireland, so there wouldn't have been a huge amount of education and stuff around it. So you said you went in and fighting. Like, what weights were you going in fighting at? Were you making bad weight cuts, stuff like that? Is that what was the issue?
Yeah. So first of all, I didn't have any ground game at all. I started Japanese jiu-jitsu, all that Steven Seagal crap. I was walking around at 80. I think I was walking around at 85, 84, fighting at 84 for titles. You know.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but like I was learning. But the thing is, myself and my coach at the time, we were learning, and I was using my career to learn. I didn't think about the future. I didn't know it would affect me as much as it has in the future, you know. But can't do anything about it now, so there's no point crying over.
And how hard was that, dueling, coaching, and like you said, you're using your own career. You probably didn't expect MMA to blow up the way it has now. So like, how was that trying to balance the coaching and your own career at the same time as a pro?
Then or now?
Then. And then you can contrast it to now.
I wasn't coaching as much then. It's just like I said, like you said, the MMA scene wasn't as big as it was now. So there's a lot of learning stuff. The coach I had at the time was learning, I was learning, and we were going against guys who kind of already in the scene. So there was some catching up to do.
Yeah, and you said you went in at 18 years of age. You're fighting for title fights. You fought on numerous different promotions as well. What is it like, especially when you're going in at 18 and you could be fighting a guy, you potentially fighting guys late 20s, early 30s?
That's what happened, you know.
What kind of, as an 18-year-old, you're still quite young, you're still not mature. What's it like going in to fight a grown man as such in these fights at that stage? Like you talked about the nerves of amateur. What was it like going in to fight someone like that at the time at 18?
See, I had been forced into some street scraps before that, so I'd learned to kind of mask it, to kind of shadow it, and just, this is in the street fights, but in MMA, it didn't turn out as expected. But yeah, it opened my eyes to a lot, you know. It opened my eyes to a lot, like fighting in general. If I could go back, I'd like to go back and change, but I can't. But at the same time, it's taught me a lot, so.
Yeah, because you wouldn't be who you are today.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's what we're going to get onto later, the changes that you've made and what you're going to do going forward, because you've looked very impressive since you've come back. So sorry, go ahead.
I actually, because I'm friends with a lot of guys that fought before, I actually asked a few of them, like, come on, give me a rematch, you know? They're like, no, you want to beat up an old man, because most of them are retired now, so something I'd like to, just to, you know, clean the slate a little bit.
Just kind of wipe it, get it back to zero and then go on. Yeah, I know when you first started here, you had a win, you had 2 losses, and then you had a win, and then another 3. So you went 2-5. As an early pro, at that age, like 18, 19, 20, going into those years, like did that affect you mentally at any stage? Did you think maybe I'm not cut out for this, or did it spur you to go on and do better, to improve?
It broke me a little bit, but at the same time, because I could see myself progressing a lot, so that I knew I still had a lot to learn. I knew I was very far from my peak, so it didn't put me off as much. I tried to rush, and I was jumping in. Like I said, I was jumping into the fire straight away. But yeah, no, I knew I had a lot to learn. Even until now, I'm still learning stuff. I've been doing it almost 15 years, and I'm still learning new stuff today. So there wasn't an issue.
Yeah, and you see that even with the likes of coaches now, like the likes of jiu-jitsu and all, you can see them just evolving as time goes on as well. Like there's always something to learn, there's always something new around the corner. So, with that, like the start of your pro career, going into it, like you've had runs of, when you go on a win streak then, compared to, you were saying it kind of broke you a little bit, but you were still progressing. When you went on a win streak, I think it was 4 then was after that. What kind of feelings you get then, the highs then?
So, at the start of my career, I had the few losses on my record, and then I started fighting in South Africa. My first fight in South Africa was a middleweight, and I fought this guy, Tumelo Mputa, big tank of a guy. This is the guy I had to draw with. And backstage, one of the fighters came up to me, Wenzel Nell, came up to me and was like, "What are you doing fighting a middleweight?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Have you not seen the guys you're fighting?" So he explained to me about the weight cut, and he's the one who told me, like you should not be fighting a middleweight. So from then, I dropped down to 77, and the difference was crazy. Like it took, because I didn't know about the weight cut and how to do it properly. So it was a struggle to get there at the start. But as soon as I got there, like in the fight, the difference, like guys push up a cage, you're able to do stuff back. You know what I mean? You don't have like guys who have 10 kg on you, pinning into your cage. It's a big difference. So when I learned that, and I dropped down to 77, that's when my career took off. I was smashing everybody. I won the title. Like it just changed everything.
And that's mad. Something that so. When you were in there, obviously, when you were fighting at middleweight and you were fighting at middleweight weights, like you said, you were walking around at the 84, 85.
And the thing is, well, because back then I was mainly a striker, and like my amateur fights were all stand-up knockouts. So when I got into pro, guys said, "Wait, take me down, pin him with the cage, take him down, keep him down." This is how to beat Fadipe, and I didn't really know much. So when I dropped the weight, it wasn't as easy to keep me down. Yeah. And I was much lighter. It just changed everything.
And then once that happened, and you start winning again, does the confidence start coming back?
Of course, yeah.
But when the confidence starts coming back, because I see it with a lot of fighters, and they've spoken to me about it personally as well, is there at any stage you start to feel overconfident, or do you have something to contain that?
With MMA, I think it's with the fighters actually. In front of the camera, especially after a win, I get a boost of confidence. And because I know I have a lot of belief in myself and I know what I'm capable of, so you get the confidence. But at the same time, you know you're still human, and you know, it's like from my losses, I know that I can be beat. So there's a balance, like.
So obviously, once if you feel like you're getting carried away, do you ever think back
Yes,
to the times?
exactly. I remember when the guy was smashing listen to this. That's from John Shields from when I was 19. So like when I eat now, I hear that. So this is a constant reminder that I'm human.
So every time you eat, you're constantly reminded of John Shields. And what exactly was that happened there? Did he break your jaw? Was it?
No, I didn't break it. So he got me on the ground, mount, and dropped an elbow, and that happened. And it's been doing that since. It's been doing that since.
So that's one of the moments.
It's a constant reminder, that I'm mortal.
Okay, so obviously you said you didn't know too much about the weight cutting. When you started doing the weight cutting, what did that feel like on the body with the discipline, not being able to eat the kind of food you like?
It was tough because like I love food. I love to cook as well, so this is difficult for me. But it's part like you have to discipline yourself along with so many other things. It's something that has to be done. Something you know. Couple of weeks before the fight, before I have to make weight, I cut out the carbs, reduced portions. You stop eating at 7 o'clock to the intermediate fasting, and like everyone is different as well. So you have to find a system that works for you. The first couple of times I had to do the salt baths at the end, salt baths in the saunas. And I actually fainted. I fainted once in South Africa doing it. But you get it. You find what works for you, and
yeah, because everyone's different. Obviously, your body's going to react different ways to different foods, and you're only going to get that over time. Now, you said about the salt baths and the saunas. Do you do them now, or have you got to a stage?
The last time I went to 77, I hadn't fought in 4 years, and I was thinking, to make the cut was going to be difficult, whatever. And I actually made the cut without saunas, without baths, but I was just training so hard that I was 76 before the weigh-in, just from training. Because I was that eager to come back. I was like, this is against Ali McLean. So yeah, so I made weight without saunas or anything. And I didn't even starve myself as much.
That must have felt better than usual, obviously. Yeah. That was your comeback fight after 4 years. Like I said, you had quite a few fights before you came back in 2021. Like, is there any highlights in the first portion of your career that really stand out? Obviously, we've got the John Shields with the jaw. Is there any wins, any knockouts or anything that stands out to you?
When I won the title in South Africa against Dino, what actually made that stand out for me, it wasn't even about the title. It was about what I went through before the title. Like I tore, couple of weeks before the fight, I tore my MCL. And I thought I was going to have to cancel it. And I put in 8 months, good 8 months of proper training. And I thought, this is the end of it. Because one of the guys, at the end of a session, one of the little guys I was running with, wanted to show off and rip my knee. But the fact that I went into the fight with one leg and I still won it, that for me was more than winning the title. So that's a big stand-up for me.
Yeah, because that shows like mental, like to go in. And then obviously you said one of the new guys. Do you find that a lot in gyms with new guys, that not that maybe they don't do it purposely, but they probably don't realize that they're doing stuff wrong?
What it was, I actually think, is because at the time in the gym, I was the guy, and he was kind of wanted to prove himself. I'm wrestling, I'm grappling with Henry, So yeah, he went for a leg lock at the end of a session. Yeah.
I would assume leg locks would be something that you wouldn't really be doing too much of in the gym, and doing
and
it
he didn't
fully.
even know what he was doing, so he just But like this is all part of the whole learning as a gym. Now I know not to be grappling with beginners before a fight, Yeah,
because obviously at pro you want people at your level, they know the experience. Because you need your training partners to take care of you. Obviously,
exactly, yeah.
You're in Fantom now. When you came back in 2021, were you in Fantom then? And what made you come to Fantom? Because it's a very good gym. Obviously, you've got Pavel.
So I was with Huzaria before.
In Nace.
Nace, yeah, because I was living in Clane. And I was with Marius for a while. But Marius mainly BJJ. And did you know my Bama fight? Do you still have it on the Bama fight?
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I fought, what's his name? Ion Pascu.
Yes.
Yeah. And because I was training with Marius and this strictly MMA, BJJ guys, I got used to doing BJJ moves. So I was going for a heel hook and forgot, I left my face open and got, that was a big reminder.
And then obviously when that happened, because that was just before, that was the last fight before you came back, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So then after when?
That was off the back of the Drickus cancellation. So yeah, I was going through depression. I was going through a lot at the time. I kind of just wanted a fight, and I just jumped into the fight, and yeah, that happened.
So obviously you had a break for 4 years, and then I've kept seeing Henry 2.0, the new Henry. What is the new Henry, and how is he different to the old Henry?
I'm not as hyped as I used to be, and I'm not as I'm older. I'm smarter. I analyze things a lot more than I used to. I'm hungrier because I know time's not on my side anymore.
And with that, obviously, because you're getting older, and you see the way MMA is exploding, do you see this is now, with everything that's gone on before, the way it's exploding, the opportunities that you have, this is the time for you to make it now? Because you had 3 fights in 2 months, which is pretty unheard of as a pro fighter.
Yeah, I was going to have a 4th as well.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was supposed to have, actually, there was 2 fights offered in December, but I couldn't make because my residency card expires in March. So I missed another, at least one. I was going to take one out of the 2 in December. So I was going to make it 4 in 3 months. Yeah, man, I want to bang them out as much as possible. I want to keep, like I said, time's not on my side. So I want to take over before it's too late.
Yeah, and then you've been, like, obviously, you fought at, was it MMA Attack in Poland, wasn't it? That looked like a really well-run show. You come back then, off the back of that, Richard Kiley's pulled out from Cage Legacy, Johnny Jitsu's looking for a fight. You literally get off your flight, make a video, like, and a week later your fight, it was a week later, wasn't it?
Yeah, like, 6 days later, yeah.
When you see Johnny looking for it, you fought Johnny obviously previously, you want to get back in. To take a fight on a week's notice is very short. Like, did you know obviously you could make the weight and everything?
Yeah, so the fight was on, the MMA Attack was on Friday or Saturday, and we kind of partied over the weekend. So I put on a bit of, I went a bit overboard on the food. On Monday, I saw Richard Kiley pulled out. I was at the airport and I spoke to Powell and was like, listen, Johnny's a goer, I'm a goer, let's do it. So I put the video out, he accepted it. About the weight, I wasn't too far off anyway, so that wasn't a problem. Johnny missed weight, I made weight. Yeah, it was fun. Johnny's a scrapper, like, I love Johnny. He's a scrapper. I knew he was gonna accept the fight because he's like, I'll fight anybody anywhere, that kind of attitude. So it worked in my favor, you know.
Yeah, because Johnny just loves.
He loves the scrap. Yeah.
He loves the scrap. I think his quote to me was, "Where can you go and fight and not get arrested?" So, but then obviously with that you picked up another belt, and then on the back of that you've been signed to KSW. Can you talk about the ins and outs? You have a multi-fight deal there. Obviously, it's a huge promotion. I think it's very underrated and not talked about enough. How has your dealings been there so far?
Yeah, I think the reason, personally, I think the reason why it's not as talked about is because of the language barrier. But my manager is Polish, so he does all the talking for me when it comes to that. Yeah, it's a big promotion. It's a big promotion. It's very underrated. The guys there are really good. They're really good. I've signed a 4-fight contract. It's open though, so I'm able to fight outside of it as well. So this is really good. Gonna try and jump on one of the big shows next. Cage Warriors coming. I'd like to go on Bellator, but I'm not kissing anybody's ass. I don't kiss anyone's ass, so I probably won't make it onto Bellator. But Cage Warriors gonna try and jump on that before.
Cage Warriors would be a very good show to get to. Like, yeah. Cage Warriors is very good, and like that with KSW as well. With that fight that you actually had on it, you done something that hadn't been done in Poland before, the Peruvian necktie. Yeah. Where did that come from?
Man, so like I teach my students that submission, but so grappling was the last thing on my mind going into that fight because I was still coming off injury. I still had some injuries that didn't really play well with the grappling. So I was doing a lot of takedown defense, countering his takedowns with the knees, and all that. That was what I was ready for. But for some reason, that happened, and bam, bam, bam.
And then once you got it, and then you realized it was the first one in KSW, and then after you realized it was the first one in Poland, like, you've made a little bit of history there. How does that feel, or is it just like it's just another day at the office for you?
It's nice. At the same time, I think if I was with a different gym, it'd be covered a little bit more. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's a nice little feather in the hat. But yeah.
It is. It is. I seen a few people share it. I like that said when something like that happens, I think the community should get together and all share and try and give everyone from Ireland credit. So, with the gym you're in now, how do you find Pavel as a coach? What does he mean to you as a coach? What has he done?
Pavel's my manager. He's awesome, man. He's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, my coach is Vanya.
Oh,
Pavel is crazy, and it
Pavel's
works for
everywhere.
me.
That's
yeah,
why.
exactly. He's crazy, and this works for me because that's the type of person you need working for you. You know, someone who's everywhere. So this is perfect, man. We're like a nice little duo.
Yeah, yin to your
Exactly.
yang sort of thing. So obviously, how do you find coaching here? What does Fantom mean to you as a team, and what does the team? What's the team like here?
I've been training in Ireland for a long time. When I left Irish, and I went to different gyms. I went to Rhino. I went to SBG. I went to a couple of gyms. Rhino was really nice, but it was kind of a way out, and I still felt like an outsider. I was there for a while, and I felt outside, like a visitor the whole time. When I went to Marius and Klein, it was more welcoming because everyone's all foreigners or whatever. So I felt a bit more welcome there. Here, when I came here, same story. Like everyone's kind of more welcoming because everyone here is all foreigners. So there's a bit of more acceptance here.
But I think that's mad. As you've been in the country so long, like
I've been in the country so long, but I'm still,
yeah. We won't go to it,
Yeah.
but for me, that like I don't see anything like that.
You don't, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. But I'm just not even like about a racist thing. It's just how it is, you know.
It's just you don't conform with what
Yeah.
people would accept. But yeah, so
I don't talk like this all the time as well, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So you've said obviously you've got the 4-fight deal. The fact that it's open, was that something Pavel got for you, or is it something they offer to all the fighters?
I'm not too sure actually. Pavel just said that to me. So we have open contract. It's perfect, man. It's perfect. It works perfect for us because we don't live in Poland. We're international, so we can always like now, because my thing expires in March. So I don't know how long it's going to take me. So if something opens like Cage Warriors, you know what I mean? I could do that. So I'm not blocked. It works perfect for us.
Yeah, because there's going to be like that. You're going to have Cage Warriors and stuff coming up in the next few months. Yeah. I'm really excited for the next part of your career. You've come back with quite a bang. But if you look back through your whole career, is there a favourite a fight that I'm going to ask you two questions. One, a favourite knockout or submission that you have? It's probably going to be the necktie now that we've talked about it. But is there any fight that when you left that fight that changed you, that made you like that you learned the most from?
Actually, I haven't thought about that before. No.
Or if you want to go with, is there a favourite finish that you have? Would it be the necktie?
No. I think it would be the Van Staden fight. Yeah, because that's the only fight I ever went to pissed off. Like, I normally don't fight angry. This is the only time I went into a fight with the intention of actually hurting him. Yeah, so he got a little bit personal. I had just had my daughter Robin at the time, and he got a little personal because I missed the first fight. The first time we were scheduled to fight, I missed it because of the travel issues. And then the second time, he started going, "Oh, you talking real personal." He actually brought my daughter into it as well, so I got really pissed off. Yeah, I went in there, and I remember, yeah, have you seen the fight?
I've seen at the.
So I smashed him around a couple of times. He caught me once. He hit me once in the solar plex. That's the only time. Then I got him on the ground and I ripped his knee out. I remember the sound of his knee ripping. It sounded like ripping the shirt, like.
So basically, don't get personal with Henry.
Yeah, that's the only time I fought angry.
And that's obviously like we talked about. Yeah, human like everyone else. But someone brings a family member into it, which I think if you want to go at someone's skills, their ability, stuff like that, I think that's fair game. I think, especially when it's someone that's that young that can't defend themselves. Like, how did that make you feel as a person? Like, were you like, I'm gonna kill him?
Like, I knew he was trying to sell a fight. I knew he was trying to hype whatever, but he got he got too personal. Like, me and him were friends now. He's good. He's good skin. But at the time, I really wanted to hurt him. So that one stands out the most to me.
As you finish, and I don't know, is there any fight that changed you, or that like made that you learned a lot from, that you needed to change things after?
That need to change things.
Yeah.
Would be all the losses, because I knew how I lost, and the thing is, everybody knew at the time. Everybody knew how to beat me, because get him, stick him to the cage, bring him down. it was textbook kind of stuff. But you know, so after that, I started focusing a lot on my grappling. I trained with Marius doing the grappling, then having to mix the grappling with the striking and knowing when not to leave your head open, like the Bamba fight. All that kind of opened my eyes.
Yeah, so then obviously where every loss you picked up something,
Exactly,
and then you corrected it and fixed it, and that's where we have you here today. There's one more question I'm going to ask before we go as well. If you wanted to be remembered, whether it be as a fighter or as a person, is there anything that you'd like to be remembered by?
Yeah. In the future, I'm gonna bring out my story. There's a lot of stuff people don't know about. Like I actually started writing a book. There's a lot of stuff I haven't spoken about that will come out eventually. And what I like to remember for is you can hit rock bottom and still hit the skies, you know.
So you want to be an inspiration to
exactly.
everyone going forward.
You can always come back from wherever you think you are.
Perfect. And when you write stuff like that down, does that help you like figure it out in your own head?
Yeah, because see, when I'm in my head, like I'm asking questions, I'm talking to myself, and I'm asking myself, it just gets all jumbled up. But when you write it down, you're able to like see it in front of you, you know, and think about it clearly and like put everything aside. So yeah, writing down stuff has helped a lot.
Perfect. Well, I look forward to seeing what you've got written. I want to thank you so much for your time today. I know it's precious, and it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, my friend.
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.